Hey everybody, it's Richie3Jack here with another week in review for January 13th, 2013. This week we had a few blog posts coming in. One of the things, I was supposed to have a column for Golf WRX coming up. It was supposed to be earlier in this week, but what happened was they were doing some site maintenance and they haven't gotten yet to posting it. So it should be up either hopefully Monday or Tuesday. And again, those golfwrx.coms, they have to do with the number side of the game of golf and, things like more Pro Golf Synopsis type related work. And again, if you want to purchase Pro Golf Synopsis, it's available at the blog site. You go to the upper right hand corner and you just click the add cart button and you'll find Pro Golf Synopsis. One of the first blog posts for the week was on my 2013 golf resolutions for myself. What they had to deal with was more kind of along the lines of what Dr. Rob Bell, who wrote the book Mental Training for Strength Training for Mental Toughness for Golf, and he's got a very interesting theory, but it's simple, but it's not as obvious, I guess, and you have to kind of convince yourself to do it. But his idea is that you should make most your practice very difficult, not only from trying to hit shots that are difficult, but also make it a pressure-packed situation for you. So when you have all the training as far as the pressure and the difficulty on the range or whatever, when you get on the golf course, especially if you get in a tournament, all those pressures are not that bad for you. It kind of goes in line with the Seve video I show, where Seve, he's hitting flop shots and bunker blasts with a 3-iron because that's what he grew up playing with. And he also went on to be probably the greatest short game player of all time. And as he says, if he can hit a 3-iron flop shot, then hitting a sand wedge or a lob wedge or a 62-degree wedge is just easier. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking I need to do with my game. So we'll see how that goes. I know for 2012 it was kind of a disappointing year because I felt like I was swinging better and my ball striking improved, but come tournament time, I just could not get it to where I needed to be. And a lot of that had to do with I just didn't play enough this year. And my biggest struggle was with the driver. And when I would practice a lot with my irons and even my long irons. But, the driver does require some general different type of impact conditions. One of the things we found was I had a bit of a steep attack angle, but a lot of it just had to do with my concept of where the sweet spot was. And remember, the sweet spot's only about the size of about a needle point. My concept of what I was doing is I was hitting above the sweet spot. So what would happen is I would have too steep of an attack angle, in part because that's where I thought the sweet spot was. And then I had these drives that would fly nice, but they'd have a lot of spin on them because I was hitting too far down. But the reason why I was hitting a nice trajectory is because the loft increases because of the roll of the driver. And that's something that we've talked about with Tom Wishon's drivers. He has what's called graduated roll technology, which basically eliminates almost all the roll in the club. So it's one thing I really prefer about Wishon's drivers is that I can hit it off the deck very easily. In fact, I'm probably so good with hitting it off the deck that I almost rarely use my 3-wood off the deck because in most situations I don't have to because I can hit my driver just as well and hit it much further. And that's because with the graduated roll technology, the bottom of the club, there's no face roll on the bottom of the club. So if you got a 10-degree loft, you may be hitting, a Titleist driver. If you hit towards the bottom of the club, the loft may be only about 8 degrees or 7.5 degrees. Whereas with Wishon's club, if you got a 10-degree loft driver, it's going to be basically a 10-degree loft everywhere on the club face. except for the very top towards the crown, and it doesn't have that big loft increase as your normal drivers do. And we've talked about this before, and I just recommend you go over to wishongolf.com to understand graduated roll technology a little bit more. But it's just something I found very beneficial, and with the driver, I've had I had a lot of problems come crunch time. So a lot of it was just I would take good swings and hit it well with the irons, and it would show up on video. But the problem was when I was with the driver, I would rarely video the driver swing, and the driver swing just looked a lot worse on video, and of course that's why I was not as consistent. But this year we've got the amateur championship, the qualifiers over at the Golden Bear Club, I think it's called. It's a private course I've never played before. And the Mid-Amateur Championship qualifiers, again, at Legacy Club at Alca Lakes. So we'll see how those go. My goal personally has been to qualify for the U.S. Amateur. This year I've got some other things kind of going on in my life that I've got to a little bit of some financial dealings I'm working on. So this year I don't plan on trying to qualify for the U.S. Amateur, and I don't think my game is there yet. But I'm hoping my goal is for in 2014. That's going to be the year I'm going to try to qualify, and just keep on plugging away at it until I get it. So like Emmett Smith said, it's a dream until you write it down, then it becomes a goal. So that's why I wrote down those resolutions. Moving on, we went to the 5th annual Three Jack Awards. That's just kind of like a little fun that I try to have with a blog, and just kind of get into the give like an awards for this internet spectrum of golf instruction, equipment, niche equipment, components and stuff like that. If you have any YouTube videos you like, or golf swings you like, or training aids that you think would be a good fit, just email me at richie3jack@yahoo.com. And I'm always interested in stuff like that, and I could always use the help. Let's see. Then I moved on to the 2013 PGA Merchandise Show preview. That's a lot of fun to go to. It's it's really an equipment-based show, but you would be surprised at how much stuff they have as far as just on the pure business side of that's meant just for golf courses and driving ranges. But the first day they have is at Orange County National. If you've never been to Orange County National, they have this giant range. It's probably about the largest range you'll ever see in your life, and it's in a 360-degree circle. And all around in the circle, they have every square foot is a tent of some sorts of some equipment manufacturer. And it's not just a driving range where you hit balls to. You also have all these putting greens. I mean, you probably have 8 or 9 putting greens, and then 8 or 9 short game greens you can go to, and they'll have manufacturers with their wedges and putters and all sorts of stuff out there. This year I'm really looking forward to trying out the Adele irons. Those look really fantastic. I hit them a little bit, and I really liked what I felt. And the concept of the high bounce angle makes a lot of sense, especially with irons, because it can. I believe it'll reduce the amount of turf interaction between the club and the turf, and then therefore it'll help you with distance control, which is really what iron play is mostly about. If you got your distances down, you're with your irons, you pretty much won most of the battle. And then on Thursday we'll have the what we call the Tweet Up. This is our 3rd time having it. We're going to have it again at the Brick House Tavern, which is right down on I-Drive. It's walking distance from the convention center. We're going to have a lot of great minds there, and it's just a good time to discuss golf and just have a good time to meet people. if you're interested, you should always just show up and see what you like. There's great people there. You got people like Dave Wedzik from the Five Simple Keys, Golf Evolution. You've also got Michael McLaughlin, who runs the Sandtrap.com. He's also part of the Five Simple Keys crew. Mark Sweeney, he's the guy who created Aimpoint, and other guys like John Doherty and Chris Como and stuff like that. I'll be there as well. Lastly, showed a video from Jim Goergen, who he's a teacher at the golf course I used to be a member at in Atlanta. Jim's got a big stable of some really promising junior players. I know he's got one that she just has declared that she's going to go to play at Clemson. He'll have a whole bunch of other golfers that are probably going to go on to big D1 schools to play golf. I think he's got some people some girls and some boys that played at UGA and Georgia Tech. So he's based out of north of Atlanta at Windermere Golf Club. I know he's attended a couple of MAC schools, and I've heard him do lessons, and he's a great player himself. And I've seen him do plenty of putting lessons, and he always gets people to putt really well. It's fairly simple, a lot of what he teaches, but it's very effective at the same time. So he's definitely a guy, if you're in Atlanta, you may want to try and check out sometime to get a lesson with him. So other than that, we'll hopefully get that golfwrx.com column coming up, and I hope to do another one probably a week after that I think people will be interested in. And neither of these columns were in Pro Golf Synopsis, so you don't have to worry about any type of repeat. But when those come up, I'll add a link to it, and we'll be set to go on that. So if you have any questions, just email me or private message me or even get me on Twitter. Until then, I'll talk to you later.